go, 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 go.
My name is Ray, and I love video games. I have loved and been playing video games since I was 2 years old. It has been a lifelong love of mine. And even though I love current games, I have a Wii, I have a PS3, and I have an Xbox 360, I am more of what you'd consider, I guess, a retro gamer. I love the games I grew up with, obviously. But where did this love of video games begin? Where did it come from? What are the origins of it, in other words? Let's go back and take a look and flash back on the life of Reidood and see where this love for video games came from. It happened when I was about 2, maybe 3. I remember I was sleeping on the couch in the living room, and while I was sleeping I was hearing these weird sound effects. I didn't know what the hell was going on, you know. I was wondering what that was. And it just kept getting kind of louder and louder and louder. Until eventually, I woke up. And when I woke up, I looked at the TV screen, this big wood grain 26-inch TV. I mean, mind you, this was 1981. And I saw this on the TV, and I was wondering, whoa, what the fuck is that? I mean, I probably didn't say that, I was 2, but anyway. I was awestruck. My jaw was open as to what I'm looking at here. And it was so awesome. I couldn't even, speak. My brother was sitting there with his friend, just playing this on the TV. It's like, he had a machine there, and he was holding, the stick, and he was controlling what was going on TV. It was the most incredible thing ever. Seriously, my mind was blown. And I couldn't even talk or ask if I could play or anything. I was just so taken aback by this. It was amazing. I needed to know what this was. I needed to know what I was looking at. I know there was a big black box, and there was a thing sticking out of it that said video pinball. I didn't really understand what that meant, but I was just, wow. I so wanted to see this again. Before I could even say anything or even, begin to ask if I could play or not, my brother and his friend kind of said, okay, that's it, we're done, we're leaving. And I was like, oh, damn, I wanted to see more of this. This was incredible. So after that, it became kind of a lifelong search to be able to see this again, because I was dying to see it again. I found it to be so awesome. I wanted to see more. So pretty much the next day, I was crazily asking my brother, what was that I saw yesterday? And he's like, well, it's an Atari. It's a video game system. And that game was called Video Pinball, and you could put other games in there. I have 4 or 5 other games, and my mind was like. So then he actually goes into his closet, he gets the Atari, and he hooks it up to the TV again, to show me all the games that he has. And obviously he must have been a big arcade fan, because he had Asteroids, Missile Command, Space Invaders, Video Pinball, which is obviously a pinball emulator, and he also had Combat, which came with the system. And I just sat there and watched them play all these games. I watched them play Missile Command, watched them play Asteroids, watched them play some more Video Pinball, and I watched them play some Space Invaders, and I was just sitting there. I didn't even give a fuck that I wasn't playing. I didn't care. It was so awesome that I just got to sit there and watch this video game thing, which has become pretty much my new favorite thing in the world. And my brother did this for me a couple of times, maybe every couple of weeks he would bring out the Atari, because he wouldn't leave it connected because he knew I would fuck with it. So he would bring it out from the closet, hook it up, and kind of play and show me games. After a while, this happened a couple of times, after a while I kind of started getting that urge, that I kind of want to play. I want to try it for myself. And I was just kind of hoping he would say, Ray, do you want to play? Until one day, we're playing Space Invaders. And he gives me the joystick, and he's like, you want to try it? And I was like, so I played some Space Invaders, and then afterwards he's like, hey, you want to play Combat? You know, it's only 2 players, I never get to play. So I played him in Combat, and obviously I really sucked, I've never played before. So he would just kick my ass in every single game. But I didn't care. I got to play the Atari. It was amazing. But what ended up happening was, of course, I'm a little kid, I'm about 3 years old. I wanted to play, and I wanted to play every day. But I was pretty much at the mercy of my brother whenever he felt like connecting it. But it became kind of an everyday, can you please connect the Atari, please connect the Atari, please connect the Atari. And it was a constant no, 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 because he was just very busy. He was, you know, he had his own thing going on. He wasn't home that often. He had work, he had school, he had his social life. So this became an issue because he would start getting pissed because I kept bothering him about it. And he would be like, no, man, leave me alone. I remember the only other time I ever got to play Atari was at my cousin's house, but the only game they had was a game called Haunted House. And that game actually scared the shit out of me. It had this weird, creepy, dark theme going, and it had like these creepy sound effects, and whenever you die it makes like this really loud, scary noise. So as a 3-year-old kid, that scared the shit out of me. So I wasn't really into that one. So I had started kind of giving up on my brother connecting the Atari because pretty much he didn't want to anymore. He was rarely home, and when he was pretty much sleeping, so yeah, it became a struggle. I knew it wasn't going to happen, so I turned my attention to my parents. It went from, brother, can you connect my Atari, to, hey parents, can you buy me my own Atari? And we weren't, you know, big money people back then, so I knew it was a tough sell for my parents. But there was one fateful day that I will never forget. I'm sitting there in the living room playing with, I don't know what the fuck I was playing with, and my dad walks in with my brother, and he has this big bag from KB Toys. It was either KB Toys or Lionel Playworld. I can't remember if it was Toys R Us. I don't remember. And it was a big bag, and my dad just looks at me and he goes, "Ray, guess what I got you?" And I said, "Atari?" And he was like, "No." But yes, it was an Atari. It was a box, beautiful silver box that said Atari. And not only did they give me an Atari, but they got me a shitload of games, and I knew this was partly due to my brother going, look, just buy the fucking guy an Atari, I'll help you, get him off my fucking back already. So there were a bunch of games. I think there were about 10 games that they also bought me along with the Atari. There was Defender, there was Circus Atari, Star Raiders with its weird remote thing, Yar's Revenge, Warlords, Othello, Air Raiders, Video Olympics, Berserk, Breakout, Basic Programming, sucks, and Math Grand Prix, which I used to, of course, call Math Grand Prix, which I'm sure my brother got a kick out of. That was all roughly 1984, maybe 1985. I can't remember, you know, exactly. I was like 6 or something. So, I mean, it was video game bliss. It was video game nirvana. I mean, I was there. I was entranced by my new Atari and these awesome games, and I loved it. I didn't care about anything else. I mean, I used to see this commercial all the time on TV.
I'm more alive than ever before. My friends are knocking down my door. They're getting to my Commodore 64.
It's mind-boggling. Commodore 64 lets you play hundreds more games than any video machine, plus draw, program, even do music.
I'm more alive than ever before. And my friends are knocking down my door. Now we're into so much more. We're into our Commodore 64.
And I used to say, wow, that seems pretty cool. It's like a computer with a keyboard, and it plays games, and the games are probably much more awesome looking than the Atari games. But honestly, I didn't care. I knew that my parents would never be able to afford me an actual computer system like that. And I was more than happy with my Atari 2600. I mean, I ended up buying a whole bunch of, well, my parents bought me a whole bunch of other awesome games that would become, you know, staples of my video game playing existence back then. Some of my favorite Atari games ever, like Chopper Command, Cosmic Arc, Dig Dug, Frogger, Joust, Miss Pac-Man, Junior Pac-Man, Jungle Hunt, Keystone Capers, Tron, Space Jockey, Pitfall, Phoenix, and even Centipede, which I stole from my friend Booger. Yeah, sorry Booger, that was me. So fast forward to 1988. The aforementioned Booger was still getting bought games every Sunday for good behavior. So he was getting all the newest Atari 2600 games like Kung Fu Master and Commando, which this was all kind of towards the end of the 2600's lifespan. I've already had my Atari for about 5 years, and I was still very happy with it. I was still not really wandering off. You know, I knew the Commodore 64 was out there, and that was a cool system. And my friend Peter actually had an Atari 7800, and he had Miss Pac-Man, and I thought it was so awesome because it was a lot like the arcade Miss Pac-Man, and he also had Pole Position 2, and that's when I started to notice, like, wow, you know, the visuals or the graphics, you know, look better in this. It sounds better, it's cooler. But again, I kind of resigned to the fact that my parents probably wouldn't be able to afford any kind of new system, so I just stuck with the Atari 2600. Even after constantly being bombarded by commercials like this one.
What will the future bring from Nintendo? More hits like Super Mario Brothers. Arcade hits like Kung Fu. Nintendo has the most video game hits. Hogan's Alley, Duck Hunt, and more like baseball and Excite-Bike. And you can play them only on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power.
Nintendo, a word I kept hearing more often and more often amongst like my peers. Nobody I knew actually had one though, so I never got to play one. But on one fateful day, my cousin invited me over to his house, and I go over to my cousin's house, and I knock on the door, and his parents is like, no, he's 4 doors across, he's at some other kid's house. So I go to the kid's house, and I walk in, and I'm hearing, there's like a crowd of 20 people, no lie, 20 people huddled around this TV, and I go over there, and I see this kid, and I look at the TV, and he's playing this. Once again, just like 7 years prior, when I first saw video pinball, I was awestruck. I was completely just blown away by this. This was like the most incredible thing I had ever seen in my life up to that point. I knew right away I wanted one of these. I had to have one. I needed to have one. I so badly just wanted to take it and run away and take the Nintendo back home with me. But one thing was for sure, after this night, my video game life will be forever changed.